Magandang gabi. Welcome to another episode of the Serene Sessions, where hearts speak and secrets unfold. Ngayong gabi, may isang lihim tayong bibigyang boses. Isang kwento ng pagmamahal, pagkatalo, at ang paghahanap ng sarili. Isa sa ating mga tagapakinig ang nagpadala ng liham at nais niyang ibahagi ito sa lahat, hoping that someone, maybe even you, can relate. Ito po ang kwento ni Ella. Hello DJ Serene, gusto ko sanang magpasalamat sa inyo. Dahil sa inyong show, napapakinggan ko ang mga kwento ng mga tao at sa totoo lang nakakatulong kayo sa amin. But this time, I need help. Hindi ko na kayang itago pa ang lahat ng ito, kaya't ito na lang ang paraan para matanggap ko ang lahat ng nangyari. Gusto ko lang sanang ibahagi sa inyo ang isang bahagi ng buhay ko na hindi ko ipagmamalaki. Ako si Ella, and I used to be a mistress. 29-year-old ako at nagtatrabaho bilang marketing manager sa isang sikat na kumpanya sa Makati. Anak ako ng mag-asawang magsasaka at lumaki sa isang simpleng barangay sa Taguig. Di kami mayaman, pero hindi rin kami naghihirap. Nag-aral ako sa isang public school noong bata ako. At pagkatapos, pinili kong mag-aral sa Ateneo de Manila University. Pinili ko ang Business Administration kasi noon, parang ang buhay ko ay nakasentro lang sa pag-aalaga ng pamilya ko at sa mga basic na pangarap. Magkaroon ng magandang trabaho at mabigyan ng magandang buhay ang magulang ko. Nag-work ako sa kumpanya for 3 years and to be honest, I had a steady life. Alam ko na parang boring ang routine ko pero okay lang sa akin. Wala naman akong hinihingi pa kundi yung makapagpatuloy sa trabaho at maiprovide sa pamilya ko. Ngunit, may isang bagay na hindi ko alam, DJ Serene, nandyan na pala siya, and my life would never be the same again. Hindi ko pa rin alam kung paano ko siya nakilala, but I can say na he was something I never expected. He was Anton. He's older than me by 10 years, and when we first met, I wasn't looking for anything serious. Sabi ko nga, "Hi, basta makahanap ng kausap, okay na. Hindi na kailangang seryosohin." Nandyan siya, and at first parang normal, na office romance lang. Pero habang tumatagal, parang may magnetic pull kami sa isa't isa. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari, pero siya na lang ang laman ng isip ko. Madalas kaming magkausap sa text, then minsan, magkakape kami pagkatapos ng office hours. Alam ko, medyo masyadong mabilis, pero di ko na kayang pigilan ang nararamdaman ko sa kanya. At alam ko, may something special sa connection namin. Hindi ko alam kung anong hinahanap ko sa kanya, but everything felt right. Then, one night, when everything changed, when I saw him in person, outside of the office, na parang walang makakakita sa amin. Alam mo, DJ Serene, hindi ko pa rin alam kung paano ko siya nahulog. Pero let's start from the beginning. Anton was in his late 30s, married with 2 kids. He was a department head sa kumpanya kung saan ako nagtratrabaho. At siya yung tipong boss na may authority, pero hindi mataas ang ere. He had this professional vibe, pero may something about him na hindi ko kayang i-explain. Nagmumukhang seryoso siya, pero hindi siya cold. Parang may charm na hindi mo inaasahan. At that time, ang tingin ko kay Anton was just my boss. Hindi ko siya pinapansin bilang someone na pwedeng magbago sa buhay ko. Hindi ko alam pero he had this presence. Yung tipong kahit hindi siya nagsasalita, he's in charge. Si Anton, married siya kay Grace, isang magaling na architect. They've been together for almost 10 years at may 2 anak silang lalaki. Honestly, akala ko okay na silang mag-asawa. They looked perfect from the outside. Maayos, magkausap, And I never thought Anton would be someone who would fall for someone like me. Sa totoo lang, parang he had the perfect family. And I had nothing to offer that could compare to that. Pero paano nga ba kami nagkakilala? It was a typical workday. First day of the month, may quarterly meeting kami sa office. Siya yung magho-host ng presentation. And I was just sitting there taking notes, focusing on my task. Then, during a break, he walked up to me. Anton smiled, and out of nowhere asked, "Ella, can you help me with this report? I need a second opinion." Honestly, I didn't know what to say. Kasi he's the department head, and I was just a marketing assistant at the time. Pero I agreed, and that was the first time we really talked. Hindi na yung formal, "Sir, may I help you?" Kundi a real conversation. It felt different. He wasn't treating me like an underling. It was more of an intellectual connection. Tinanong niya ako tungkol sa trabaho ko, pati na rin sa buhay ko outside the office. Napansin ko, hindi siya nagmamagaling, hindi siya condescending. He was just interested. And that's when I started noticing him in a different light. From that day on, medyo naging regular na yung conversations namin. Hindi siya pressured, hindi siya nagmamadali. He'd drop by my desk sometimes to ask for my opinion or just make small talk. Tapos, minsan kapag break time, he'd sit with me and we'd talk about random things. Mga kwentong hindi tungkol sa trabaho. About life, about family, about everything under the sun. Yung tipong walang agenda, kundi mag-usap lang. At first, I didn't think anything of it. I never thought that he would look at me the way he did. Pero one day, habang naglalakad kami palabas ng building, he said something that caught me off guard. "Ella, I'm glad we started talking. I'm glad to know you more." Alam mo, DJ Serene, it wasn't the words themselves, kundi yung way he said it. Yung sincerity sa mata niya. At that moment, parang may nag-click sa puso ko. He wasn't just my boss anymore. There was something more. And maybe, just maybe, he was feeling the same way too. At dun nagsimula ang lahat. Hindi ko alam kung paano kami napunta sa ganitong sitwasyon. Hindi ko inaasahan, pero si Anton, he became someone I looked forward to seeing every day. I thought it was just a crush, but it wasn't. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari, pero I was falling for him. Hindi ko talaga alam kung paano, pero pagkatapos ng halik na yon, everything changed. Sabi ko sa sarili ko, "Huwag, Ella, huwag mong ipagpatuloy ito. Mali siya, may pamilya siya." Pero wala akong magawa. Lahat ng nararamdaman ko ang hirap pigilan. Every time I saw Anton, parang mas lalo akong nahulog sa kanya. Hindi ko rin alam kung anong nangyari, pero there was something about him na hindi ko kayang i-explain. Hindi ko na siya tinitingnan bilang boss, kundi bilang someone I really wanted. Every time we'd meet, parang ang saya ko. Tapos every time he'd smile at me, it felt like everything in the world just stopped. Hindi ko na alam kung paano ko sisimulan. Pero feeling ko, he made me feel seen. Hindi ako tinratong parang inferior. Hindi gaya ng ibang boss na narinig ko lang. Anton treated me differently, na parang may halaga ako. Nag-start kami na magka-lunch, na kami magkasama, tapos mga coffee breaks, at minsan pa nga after work, magkasama kami sa isang quiet place. But I knew this wasn't just casual anymore. I started feeling things I couldn't control. One night after a dinner date, we were walking in the parking lot, and then, out of nowhere, he grabbed my hand. I didn't even know what to say. It felt like everything froze. I could feel his hand on mine and my heart started racing. Then he pulled me closer and whispered in my ear, "Ella, I want you." And it felt like everything I was holding back suddenly just disappeared. I kissed him. Yung halik niya, DJ Serene, I swear, it felt like fire. Parang may kuryente sa katawan ko. I didn't care about anything anymore. Hindi ko na naisip kung may nakakakita, kung tama ba ito o mali. It was like everything in that moment made sense. I wanted him. And I kissed him back. After that, parang hindi na kami mapigil. We started seeing each other more often. Every time we met, it felt like I was falling even deeper. And then, one night, after a casual dinner, I remember he invited me to a hotel. Hindi ko na alam kung bakit, but I went with him. I guess I was already in too deep. When we got inside the room, it felt like we couldn't stop anymore. The tension, the chemistry, it was too strong. That night, it wasn't just about lust. It was intense. We made love, and it felt like we were meant to be together. Hindi ko na kayang pigilin pa. I wanted him more than I realized. After that, it became like a routine. We'd meet up, spend time together, and it wasn't just once. Hindi lang yun isang beses. Every time we were together, I felt more alive. I didn't care about what was right or wrong. I didn't care about his family. I was just lost in him. There were times we'd check in at hotels just to escape the world and be with each other. But with each encounter, it felt like I was losing a part of myself too. And still, I couldn't stop. It was like a feeling that was too deep to ignore, too strong to resist. Yun na nga, DJ Serene. Sa bawat pagkakataon na magkakasama kami, parang lalo kong nawawala sa sarili ko. And kahit na alam kong may pamilya siya na mali ito, I still kept going. And ang hirap kasi, it wasn't just the stolen glances, the secret meetings, or the long deep conversations. Lahat nun, umaabot sa katawan namin. Hindi ko na kayang itago pa. Every time Anton and I would meet, it was like we were drawn to each other. Hindi ko na alam kung kami ba talaga or kung it was just the chemistry. The first time na nagkaroon kami ng intimate moment, hindi ko na kayang pigilan. When we kissed, everything else felt distant. Parang ang tanging mahalaga na lang sa mundo namin ay ang isa't isa. His hands, his lips, the way he touched me, it was like everything I've ever wanted, but never allowed myself to have. I remember that night so clearly, DJ Serene. It was just supposed to be another quiet dinner, pero after that we couldn't stop ourselves. He pulled me closer and I didn't say anything. I just let him. It wasn't just a kiss. It was everything. His hands, they were on my skin, tracing every inch of me, making me feel things I didn't know were even possible. Parang walang sapat na oras para magtago pa kami. We didn't even bother to speak anymore, because the silence between us felt like the loudest confession. And when it happened, when we finally gave in, it was like an explosion of emotions. I could feel every inch of him, his warmth, his desire. Hindi ko alam kung anong pumasok sa aking utak, pero I wanted him so much. I wanted to feel him more, hold him tighter. At that moment, lahat ng guilt ko, lahat ng takot, parang nawala. Hindi ko na alam kung anong tama at mali. I just wanted him. When we were together that night, it wasn't just about sex. It was about wanting something real, even if I knew that it was wrong. I could feel him wanting me just as much. The way he touched me, kissed me, and held me. It was as if he never wanted to let go. The passion was intense. Hindi lang yung katawan mo yung nawawala, kundi pati na rin ang isip mo. There was no thinking, no second guessing, just pure need and hunger. Afterward, when we were lying there, breathing heavily, I could hear his voice. He whispered, "I never thought I'd want someone like this. I never thought I could love someone like you." And in that moment, I didn't know if it was love or lust anymore. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyayari sa akin. All I knew was that I wanted more. More of him, more of us. But at the same time, I knew I was getting lost in something I couldn't control. Every time we would meet, I would forget about everything else. It was like I was in a trance and I didn't want to wake up. DJ Serene, hindi ko na alam kung anong nangyari sa akin. Gusto ko siya, oo. Pero at the same time, alam ko na hindi. Ito ang buhay na gusto ko. Every time we'd share those moments, I felt like I was losing myself more and more. It wasn't just about the sex anymore. It was about the need, the desire, and the emptiness that followed. But no matter how many times we met, I couldn't walk away. I felt like I was trapped, caught between wanting him and knowing that it could never truly be mine. Yung tipong araw-araw ko na siyang hinahanap. Yung oras namin, parang hindi sapat. Pero habang tumatagal, nararamdaman ko na nawawala na ako sa sarili ko. Every time Anton would message or call, I would get so excited. But at the same time, may guilt. Alam ko na mali, pero I just couldn't stop myself. Ang hirap kasi, ang dami kong tanong, lalo na nang dumating kami sa punto na gusto ko na ng higit pa. Every time na magkasama kami, I'd ask him, "Anton, when will this end? Will you leave her for me?" Pero lagi niyang sinasabi, "Ella, I can't. I can't leave them. You know that." At kahit na ganun siya, I kept wanting more. I wanted to be with him more. I wanted his time, his attention. I didn't want to be just a secret anymore. Ang masakit, kahit gustong-gusto ko siya, parang alam ko na may mga limitasyon siya. Sinasabi niyang mahal niya ako, pero hindi siya makaalis sa pamilya niya. And every time I'd ask for more time, for more of him, he'd always say, "Sorry, Ella, I can't do that." Parang alam ko na nga na hindi niya kayang ibigay lahat, pero hindi ko kayang tanggapin. Naging mas mahirap siya, kasi I kept hoping he'd change his mind. I kept waiting for him to make a decision, but deep inside, I knew it was impossible. He couldn't give me more. At ang masakit, DJ Serene, after every time we'd meet, pag umalis siya, I'd feel empty. I'd go back home, tapos mag-isa, and I'd replay everything in my head. How he kissed me, how he held me, and then I'd remember he has a family, and I was just the other woman. Parang, anong nangyari sa akin? I lost myself. Every time I saw him, it wasn't just about sex or the physical connection. It was more than that. I felt something real when I was with him. Pero pagkatapos, parang ang sakit. Yung pakiramdam na parang kami lang sa mga sandaling iyon, pero alam kong may mga bagay na hindi ko kayang baguhin. Gusto ko sanang tapusin, lalo na ngayon na parang sobra na. Kasi habang tumatagal kami ni Anton, lalo ko siyang nararamdaman. Yung pakiramdam na kapag magkasama kami, wala nang ibang importante kundi kami lang. Pero after, when he leaves, and I'm all alone, parang nawawala lahat ng saya. But I couldn't stop myself, Kahit na minsan tinanong ko siya, Anton, kailan ka ba magdedesisyon? Kailan mo ako pipiliin? Lagi niyang sinasabi na hindi siya pwedeng magbago, na hindi niya kayang iwanan si Grace at ang mga anak niya. Pero ang sakit, DJ Serene, kasi alam ko na siya ang gusto ko. Gusto ko siya at para siyang nawawala sa mga kamay ko. Parang hindi ko siya kayang makuha ng buo. Yung mga gabi na magkasama kami, mas matindi. Alam ko na mali, pero ang hirap labanan ng nararamdaman ko sa kanya. One night, magkasama kami sa isang hotel, and it was just us. Walang ibang tao, walang distractions. Si Anton lang. The way he looked at me, para bang hindi niya na kayang pigilan yung sarili niya. He kissed me softly at first, and then it was like everything just stopped. Nung hinalikan niya ako, parang nawawala ako sa sarili ko. His lips were so soft, pero every kiss was like a fire burning inside me. Hindi ko kayang pigilan. He kissed my neck, my shoulders. His hands were everywhere, and I wanted him just as much as he wanted me. Parang we couldn't get enough of each other. I didn't care anymore if it was wrong. Nung inalis niya ang mga damit ko, parang ang tagal na niyang hinahanap ito. I remember the way he touched my skin. So slowly. So carefully. His hands were tracing every part of me, making me feel things I never thought I'd feel. When he entered me, it wasn't just sex. It was everything. I felt him in every inch of me. And I wanted him more. I felt so lost in him. When we were together, there was no world outside of us. Wala nang iba, kundi siya at ako. And when we finished, he held me tight, whispering, "I don't want to let go." Pero after that, the guilt would come again. Pagkatapos ng lahat, I knew I could never be the one he chooses fully. Hindi ko siya kayang pakawalan, pero alam ko na hindi ko siya pwedeng pagmalaki. He would never leave his family. So I asked myself, am I enough? DJ Serene, kung iisipin ko, paano ba ako napunta dito sa ganitong sitwasyon? Parang may mali. I never thought that I would end up being in love with someone like Anton, na alam ko hindi ko pwedeng makuha ng buo. But then, I think about my past relationships and I realize that I've always been looking for something I thought I could get from love, but never did. My first real relationship was back in college. I thought I was in love. Yung tipong in love, kahit na wala pa akong alam sa buhay. He was this sweet, caring guy. At least that's how he seemed. But looking back, siguro I was too naive. We were together for 3 years. At first, it was perfect. Lahat ng bagay maganda. Dating, short trips, movie nights, and everything felt so real. But then, everything changed. I didn't see it coming. He started ignoring me, late na siya umuwi, and I started hearing rumors about him. Of course, I didn't want to believe it. But one night, I found out he was seeing someone else behind my back. That was the first time I felt like a fool. I couldn't understand why he'd do that to me. I loved him, and I thought he loved me too. That heartbreak, it broke me. After that, I promised myself I wouldn't let anyone hurt me again. Pero hindi ko alam na mas magiging mahirap ang susunod na mga relasyon ko. The next guy I dated, hindi ko pa tapos mag-heal. I tried to move on, but I was still carrying all that hurt. Kaya't every relationship felt like I was filling in the holes that were left. Pero hindi ko naisip na baka sa bawat relasyon ko, mas lalo lang akong nalulubog. It felt like I was just going through the motions, trying to find something I lost but couldn't get back. One guy I dated after that was older. He was stable, had a good job, and I thought maybe I could find the security I was looking for. At first, he was everything I needed. Hindi ko naisip na parang may kulang sa relasyon namin. He was reliable, but that's all he was, reliable. Hindi ko naramdaman na may passion. I tried to ignore it, but deep inside, I knew something was missing. He would never show me the kind of love I needed, and we ended up breaking up. Narealize ko na ako lang pala ang umaasa sa mga bagay na hindi niya kayang ibigay. That's when I met Anton. Hindi ko inaasahan, DJ Serene. Hindi ko alam kung anong nangyari, pero nung una, parang lahat ng nakita ko sa kanya, siya na yung sagot sa lahat ng pagkukulang ko. When I met him, he was different. He had this charm that made everything feel so right. Parang pag siya ang kasama mo, you felt special. You felt alive. Hindi ko inisip kung anong klase relasyon meron siya. Kasi sa mga unang sandali namin, ang saya ko. Walang pag-aalinlangan. Just him and me. Nung una, I didn't care about anything. He made me feel like I was the most important thing in his life. We talked for hours, went to dinners, naglakad kami sa mall. Simple lang, pero meaningful. I thought maybe this was it. Maybe this time he was the one I could give my heart to without getting hurt. Pero hindi ko alam na ang kaharap ko pala ay isang malaking tanong. Kasi every time we got closer, I realized he couldn't give me the kind of love I deserved. His heart was already claimed by someone else, by his family, by his wife, by everything he had built. Pero inisip ko, kung mahal niya ako, siguro pwede kami. Hindi ko naisip na in the end, magiging ganito na lang ako. Isang lihim na love affair, isang kabit. Ang sakit. Kasi hindi ko kayang tanggapin na parang hindi ako karapat-dapat. Pero ang hirap na umiwas sa nararamdaman ko. Parang may magnet na humihila sa akin palapit sa kanya, kahit na alam ko na mali. Ngayon, naiisip ko, bakit ako napunta sa ganito? Bakit ako umabot sa puntong di ko kayang bitawan si Anton, kahit alam kong wala siyang kayang ibigay na higit pa sa mga sandaling iyon lang? Kasi, sa lahat ng relasyon ko, siguro ako lang ang hindi natutong maghintay ng tamang panahon at tamang tao. I just wanted to be loved. And Anton made me feel loved even for a short time. But deep inside, I knew I deserve more than this. Parang may part ng puso ko na hindi ko kayang tanggalin. Pero natutunan ko na kailangan ko na. Alam ko hindi ko kayang magpatuloy sa ganitong relasyon, pero ang hirap tanggapin na matagal ko nang sinasaktan ang sarili ko. I kept telling myself na baka one day makakaya niyang iwanan ang pamilya niya, na baka one day magiging tayo. Pero deep down, alam ko na it wasn't going to happen. And I knew that if I kept holding on, I would only lose myself completely. Every time we were together, I felt like I was living in a beautiful lie. Alam ko na hindi siya pwedeng magdesisyon para sa atin. He had a family. His wife and kids were always going to be his priority. But I kept pretending that I could be happy with the little crumbs he was giving me. Every kiss, every touch, every time we spent together, it felt like it was enough. But deep inside, I was starving for more. More than just stolen moments. More than just being the other woman. It took me so long to admit it, pero I was losing myself. I was waiting for someone who could never choose me completely. I was letting myself believe that I didn't deserve more, but the truth is, I was worth more than what I was settling for. I didn't deserve to be the other. I didn't deserve to be hidden away. I wasn't just his mistress. I was a woman with a heart, with dreams, with hopes for love. So, one night, while lying in bed, I realized that I couldn't keep doing this anymore. I had to stop pretending. I couldn't keep holding on to someone who could never truly hold me. I was more than that. I deserved someone who would choose me, not just when it was convenient, but all the time. Hindi ko na kayang maging bahagi ng isang relasyon na laging may takot at lihim. I took a deep breath and called him. My heart was pounding in my chest. My hands were shaking, but I knew this was the right moment. I had to say it. I dialed his number, and when he picked up, his voice was so familiar, so comforting. Pero this time, it didn't feel right. I wasn't looking for comfort anymore. I was looking for closure. I started by saying, "Anton, I can't do this anymore." Hindi ko alam kung paano ko nasabi, pero naramdaman ko na it was the right thing to do. I continued, "I can't keep being the other woman. Hindi ko na kaya. I deserve more than just being your secret. I deserve to be someone's choice, not just an option. Hindi ko na kayang maghintay. Hindi ko na kayang maging kabit sa ilalim ng mga lihim at kasinungalingan." There was silence on the other end of the line. I could feel him processing what I said, but I wasn't going to back down. I wasn't going to beg him to choose me. I wasn't going to beg for love that was never going to be mine. I waited for his response, hoping it wouldn't hurt too much. I was ready to hear whatever he had to say, but in my heart, I knew I had made the right decision. After a long pause, he said, "Ella, please don't do this. I can't lose you." Pero habang naririnig ko siya, I knew that it wasn't enough. Wala na akong mararamdaman kundi awa. Wala na akong nararamdaman kundi ang hirap ng sitwasyon na nagdala sa atin dito. I told him, "Anton, you never really had me to begin with. I wasn't truly yours, and you weren't truly mine. I deserve someone who will choose me, not in the shadows, but in the light. Hindi ko kayang maging bahagi ng isang relasyon na hindi buo. I need to let go." And with that, I ended the call. I didn't say goodbye. I didn't need to. Kasi, for the first time, I felt free. I felt like I had finally freed myself from the chains I had placed on my heart. After that night, everything felt different. Hindi ko alam kung ano ang mangyayari sa susunod, but I knew one thing. I was finally choosing myself. I had to let go of him. Not because I didn't love him, but because I loved myself enough to know that I deserved more than a love that was hidden away. It was time to heal. DJ Serene, I never thought this day would come. Pero ito na, I'm free. Hindi ko alam kung gaano kasakit ang mag-move on until I actually did it. Alam mo yung feeling na parang may pinipilit kang bitawan pero hindi mo kayang gawin? That's what it felt like. At first. Sobrang hirap. I was used to waiting for Anton, always hoping that someday he would change his mind, that we'd be together. Pero natutunan ko, yung pagmamahal na hinihintay ko, hindi ko na siya makukuha sa kanya. When I finally told him it was over, it felt like the hardest thing I ever did. But after the pain, I realized something. I didn't need his love to feel whole. I could find that love inside myself. So I started focusing on me, on the things that made me happy, the things that I let go of when I was too focused on him. I started traveling again, something I used to love doing. I reconnected with old friends. I got back into my hobbies, yung mga bagay na nakakalimutan ko sa sobrang pagmamahal ko sa kanya. I also focused on my career. I started putting more energy into my job, and I found that the more I focused on myself, the more I realized how much I had been sacrificing. I wasn't just losing my time with Anton, I was losing the chance to live my own life. Now, I've learned to say no to things that take away my peace. I've learned to say yes to myself. At some point, I even started dating again. I was scared at first kasi akala ko baka hindi ko na kayang magmahal ulit. Pero I realized I wasn't looking for another Anton. I was looking for someone who could love me in the way I deserve. Not just in the shadows, but in the light. It's a slow process, but I'm learning to trust again. Right now, I'm still in the process of healing. DJ Serene. Hindi ko pa rin ganap na naiwan yung sakit, but I'm learning. One step at a time. I've learned to forgive myself for what happened, and that's something I never thought I'd be able to do. I'm slowly finding my worth again, and it feels liberating. I know I can do better. I know I deserve more. And in the end, it's not just about the love I gave to Anton. It's about the love I'm learning to give to myself. This is my story of healing, and I'm only just beginning to write the next chapter of my life. Wala nang takot, wala nang lihim. I'm learning to live for me, finally. Ang kwento ni Ella ay patunay na ang bawat sakit at pagsubok ay may dahilan, at ang bawat pagkatalo ay isang hakbang patungo sa tagumpay. Huwag niyo kalimutan, kayo ang may hawak ng kapalaran niyo. Walang ibang makakapagbigay ng kaligayahan kundi kayo mismo. Magpatawad, mag-move on, at maghanap ng pagmamahal na nararapat sa inyo. Ipagpatuloy nyo lang ang buhay, mga kasesyon, dahil ang pinakamahalaga ay ang matutong